have we here? Very well, let us both learn together. Heresy is not native to the world. It is but a contrivance. All things can be conjoined. Oh, what have we here? Very well, let us both learn together. Heresy is not all thing. Oh, what very well. Heresy, all things. You wish to know more? She is queen, head of the Carian royal family, and governor of the Academy of Rea Lucaria, the great and beautiful full moon witch. Sadly, her heart was broken when Lord Radagon left her, and then, when the Academy rebelled against the royals, she was locked away in the Grand Library. You know, it's said that Lord Radagon harbored a secret. A famed sculptor of the Erdtree capital was once summoned to render Lord Radagon's likeness in giant stature when he glimpsed the skeleton in Radagon's closet. And as such, it's said the great statue harbors his secret too.
Your finger.
this ready to make adjustment. Oh, please.
Back to learn another. Why, of course. Are you certain you're willing to give your glintstone key to me? My, oh my. Thank you. Thank you dearly. Now I can go back to the academy to resume my study of glintstone sorceries. And the very stars. Back to learn another. Why, of course. Thank you, dear. With your blessing, I will depart for the Academy of Rea Lucaria. Or perhaps one day, who knows? I'm... Well then.
May the goat.
Spear and welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing a GeForce RTX 3060 Ti, which thankfully is not dead, guys. It started artifacting in the Cyberpunk video, but seems to be fine. It's been running the menu at least for about like 10 minutes now. So let's proceed. This one is the Founders Edition model of the card. We are running it with the latest NVIDIA drivers, and I'm not manually overclocking it. Over in Tech Power-Ups GPUs, you can see all of the GPU specs. It's the 8GB GDDR6 version of the card, and resizable bar is also enabled. Over on the left, we're pairing it with the Ryzen 7 5800X3D and 32GB of RAM, 3600MHz CL14 in dual channel, and let's get right into The Last of Us Part 1, shall we? Now, yes, I have made a video already on the 3060 Ti and The Last of Us, but it has received the updates that we were all waiting for. It seems to have been fixed for 8GB cards, and, well, I'm here to test that out. So we're starting this at 1080p resolution using no DLSS and the high settings preset, including the high textures right here, which are only utilizing 6.7GB of RAM this time around. That's very nice to see, although I think the VRAM usage overall will be a little bit higher, but let's see how it does. I'm actually going to continue the story in this one. Alright, here we are. Things to look for are, of course, those beautiful looking textures. On high settings, they're actually pretty good looking. I mean, at 1080p, they don't really look that great, but if you increase the resolution, the texture resolution will increase with it, and it actually ends up looking really good at the 4K resolution, or like 1440p as well. We also got to keep an eye out for that RAM utilization. It's at 14GB right now. VRAM is also under control, which is very good to see. We're in a vegetation area, which is pretty intensive, and it looks great. It's performing really well. So now it's safe to say that the 3060 Ti is not dead anymore. 8GB is fine. It's enough for 1080p in The Last of Us at high settings, and ultra settings looks very similar to this, so there's no need to play at the ultra settings preset instead of high. You know, I would avoid ultra. Ultra actually runs the 3060 out of VRAM, so yeah. No stuttering issues to speak of, at least so far, by the way. The frame time is pretty I was gonna say it's pretty solid, but then we saw a little spike there, as I was saying. It's just enough to put our 1% lows at 69, which is obviously very awesome. Interesting that none of the horses are actually attached to anything, but they're all staying here. Wait, there is a J right there. Wait, isn't this Roach? Maybe it's Jack? Have we found Jack? There's another Jack. What about this one? Do all horses have a J? Yes, they do. That's weird. Okay, maybe it's supposed to be this way. Maybe the horses are Tommies or whatever. Anyways, let's get inside of the house and see the FPS right here. Yeah, 90s, pretty much the same thing. Maybe slightly higher frames right now. Yeah, it's looking great as well. The interior, the lighting, everything looks very good here on high settings and 1080p resolution. And at this res, you don't really need DLSS because it's always going to be at 60 plus. Look at the dynamic shadows over here, looking great. Even those objects cast shadows. Look at that, very good. That one doesn't, interestingly. Anyway, it doesn't matter whatsoever. Let's try to find Ellie, I guess, because we lost her. RAM usage is now at 15GB, by the way, and still not going over 16, but if you only have 16GB of RAM in your PC, you'll probably stutter a little bit, because, you know, you need a little bit of headroom there. And finally, the ray tracing, or fake tracing, actually. This is not ray tracing, okay? This game doesn't use RT reflections, but it does some trickery here, as you can see it. It looks pretty convincing, although super low resolution. Anyway, at 1080p res, it just doesn't have any issues whatsoever, at high settings at least. CPU usage is still really high though. I wish to see that being lowered a little bit with some more updates, maybe, you know, make it less CPU bound, because an 8-core, 16-threaded CPU, and it's using up to like 80% at times, which is kind of crazy, you know, for a single-player linear title at least. What the hell just happened here? I just opened the door, skipped the cinematic so you guys don't get spoiled, and there's a guy right there. Anyway, I really want to check it out with DLSS. DLSS lowers the VRAM utilization by a little bit, although it was never maxed out here at native 1080p, so I would play like that. But DLSS doesn't look too bad here. Interesting. I thought it was going to look a little bit worse than this. Especially because at 4K it's a bit weird. But maybe it's because the game is already pretty soft at the native resolution at 1080p. Let's go. Let's go downstairs. I guess there are more of them. Yes. Oh boy. What the hell? Oh, what is happening? Joel. Oh, whoa. Chill down, boy. There we go. So yeah, ooh, whoa. I didn't want to do that. I just clicked R to reload. Oh boy, Joel, wasting mollies. Are you serious? Shouldn't do this. Now that the house is gonna be on fire. Okay, we can't live here anymore. Let's get back to the horse. Get out of here, because the house is going to be on fire. I don't care. I'm sticking to it. But I'm not sure if you noticed the GPU usage wasn't maxed out there for a second when we were seeing the other characters on screen. And I guess it's because of a CPU bottleneck. I mean, I've seen the GPU usage going lower with the RX 580 in the previous video that I made, but that wasn't a CPU bottleneck. You know, the FPS were really low, so it couldn't have been. Maybe it's something to do with this game and characters on screen, or enemies actually. Ah, beautiful scenery right now. Oh, look at that GPU usage, by the way. Damn, this is beautiful. Holy crap, okay. Alright, so if you're wondering, it is safe to buy this game with 3060 Ti these days. Alright, next I will disable DLSS here and I will play at 1440p resolution. This is where the 3060 Ti started struggling a little bit back when the game released, you know, native 1440p, high settings preset, but now it's not going over 8 gigabytes of VRAM usage. That's great. Alright, now we're here getting less than 60 frames per second, but the game is looking absolutely stunning at the moment at 1440p. As I told you, the textures do increase a little bit in resolution whenever you are running the game at a higher resolution, and it does look a little bit better than native 1080 for sure, especially ground textures and stuff. Yeah, that post looks very good. Alright, VRAM usage is almost maxed out. Said it was going to utilize like 7.2, 7.3 gigabytes, but it's at 7.8 at the moment. But again, as long as it doesn't stutter whatsoever, it's going to be absolutely fine. And I mean, with these graphics, guys, and these FPS, I think it's a super nice experience at 1440p. I always have said, sorry about the tearing, by the way, it's because I don't have VSync enabled or G-Sync, because G-Sync just screws the capture card over for some reason. But as I was saying, back in 2020, when I first reviewed the RTX 3060 Ti, I said it's a very good 1440p GPU. Even for like super intensive titles, you can utilize the DLSS at 1440p. It will look great in most of them, and you can achieve high FPS in those. These days, 3 years later, well, it's getting around 60 frames per second on average at 1440p in The Last of Us Part 1, native resolution after the fixes, and it's not even VRAM limited anymore. This is really good, guys. Now, for the most part, it's going to be 60 plus, right? 1% lows are at 59. I've already seen like 55 on the lowest, actually. But for a linear single-player title like this one, I think you should definitely crank it up to high. Play at 1440p if your monitor is 1440p. And maybe stick to native resolution, because it just looks freaking stunning, my friends. Next, let's try it. with some DLSS super resolution. And yes, I am using zero sharpening because it still looks over sharpened, you know, with zero sharpening. And now instead of getting mid 50s, we were seeing like 54 around here, we are seeing 70 plus frames per second. That's a major improvement. If you're using a 1440p monitor, I think it kind of looks the same, honestly, as native resolution. Again, with that slight bit of over sharpening happening, but the detail is still there. I wasn't expecting this after testing this game the other day on the 1080 Ti with FSR2, because FSR2 was doing a really weird thing around like moving characters and stuff, around Joel, for example. It had a ton of noise, and I remember seeing it with DLSS as well, and it's still there. If you notice around Joel's head while I am doing this, you can notice a bit of noise that wasn't there at native resolution. But it's very minor now. I think they have fixed it. Also, I'm not going to test ultra settings in this video because there's just no point. Maybe at 1080p for a little bit, but you'll see it stutter and it's just not worth doing. Ultra settings. Oh, it dropped a shotgun ammo. That's great. Oh boy. That means that we can kill all of these bastards with the shotgun. Oh yes. Did you guys drop anything else? No? All right. RAM usage went up slightly here at 1440p, which is pretty interesting. And the VRAM usage went down with DLSS, and now it's at 7 gigabytes. So completely 100% fine and under... Wow, that's beautiful. The lens flares, every time I see them, it's awesome. But yeah, it's 100% below 8 gigabytes. It's never going to go over it here with DLSS, and... either choose this or the native 1440p experience. I think I would choose this, guys. Let's just see it with DLSS outside for a bit now. Remember, we were seeing really close FPS to 60, and now it's getting 80s, 70s, maybe at the minimum, or high 70s. It's really good, guys. Let's go up to 4K next. This is where it should start struggling because of the resolution being too high. Yeah, the VRAM is going over 8 gigabytes right now. Here we go, 3840 by 2160. And no DLSS. Maybe we... Oh, that's a lot of stuttering. Maybe it's still applying something. All right, it's getting 30s. It's... Look at that frame time graph, dude. It is definitely 100% running out of VRAM at this point, guys. And that's what's causing those frame time issues. If you're wondering, yes, VRAM usage is not maxed out there. It's actually fluctuating a lot between 7 and 7.5 gigabytes. But that's because... See, whenever those spikes happen and the VRAM drops down by a little bit, that's actually storing some of the information that is supposed to be on VRAM into the RAM, because we don't have enough VRAM for everything, of course. And that's why the RAM usage is up so high right now in the 20 gigabyte mark, guys. But the FPS are way too low anyway, so I don't really recommend 4K with the 3060 Ti unless it plays well with DLSS. And look at that. DLSS on quality, not even balanced, actually lowers it down to 7.4 gigabytes of VRAM usage. That's a big drop there. RAM is going down already. It is a little bit more stuttery than before, guys. You can see some little frame time spikes here and there. All right, but they are very tiny and... they are noticeable. I'm not going to say they're not noticeable, but they're definitely not as noticeable as the previous ones, right? And this is still quality DLSS. We still have balanced and performance, which look decent at 4K. And the 3060 Ti is now providing a somewhat stable experience, although those little frame times are a little bit annoying. They can get annoying. So yeah, let's drop it down now to DLSS balanced. All right, that lowers the VRAM usage by a little bit again. And come on, 60. Oh boy. All right, it's swapping things right now. Gotta wait a bit. And oh, I can see a bit more noise right now. And those frame time spikes are still there. They still happen here at 4K. I'm not sure, guys, but I think, yeah, at 4K, the experience is not really that enjoyable. What a shame. I'm actually gonna restart it, quit to the desktop fully, you know. All right, here we go. Okay, RAM usage is now down to 15 gigabytes, but those little stutters are still there. Maybe it was just a one-off at the beginning. It's fairly smooth right now. All right. I think it was just a one-off, guys. It's not VRAM limited, and it's getting 60 frames per second with no frame time issues. We only saw a single stutter at the beginning, and I guess that was just because of the loading or whatever. With a 4K monitor, this actually looks better than 1440p native, so yeah, I would utilize this. That's great, guys. I wasn't expecting this kind of performance. They definitely did fix the game, dude. That's beautiful. Thank you, developers. See why we, the reviewers and the tech YouTubers and stuff like that, need to make these kinds of videos, like complaining a lot about performance issues, stuttering issues, and so on. It's because of this. They actually heard us and fixed the damn game. Now it's smooth. I gotta say that performance DLSS, even at 4K, it's not really looking that great. Look at that over there. That just looks very weird. Some of the textures are starting to take a while to load here. But alright, guys. I think that's been it for this one. Oh, I almost forgot, guys. I just applied the ultra settings. I told you I tested 1080p resolution using the... Please, Gabe, work with me. Ultra settings preset with ultra textures. And you can see that it is running out of VRAM by just a little bit. So it could be smooth overall, but it might actually stutter here and there. Let's play this part through a little bit. Again. Oh boy. Come on. Come on. Oh boy. No. Okay, wait. Chill down, Crisp. Chill down, Crisp. Everything is fine. Everything is okay. Another shift. Another shift. There we go. There we go. We need to shoot these. All right. There it is. So far, so good. No stutters, but we're not really in an open area outside, you know, and that's where it needs to load in more textures and stuff. Okay, we're back outside. At least it didn't stutter, you know, but... well, we lost a ton of performance. It's actually dropping from 60 FPS. It's getting close performance to what we saw at native 1440p on high settings, and this is, of course, at 1080p ultra settings. And the game looks basically the same. Textures are still looking very similar as well. It's slightly running out of VRAM as well, even though it's not really stuttering too much. You might come across a big stutter here and there. And not only that, the RAM usage is going up by a little bit. So it's already swapping things into the memory of the PC. Anyway, that's been it, my friends. Okay. Now I'm gonna get out of here. See you in the next video very soon. And as always, love you all. Bye-bye.
I'll tell you the single best upgrade I ever made to my setup, the standing desk. For real, with the amount of time I spend at my desk, my back would crumple like tissue paper if I wasn't able to work standing up. Thankfully, this video sponsor, Eureka Ergonomic, have a huge range of top quality standing desks that combine both form and functionality. Like their stunning Arc series, which you can get up to 25% off when you visit eurekaergonomic.com/skillup. Click below to check it out and stick around to the end of the video to learn more. Gamers, hello and welcome to Summer Games Fest Week 2024. It all starts here in this video, sort of. So this is actually kind of a regular show in the sense that we're going to do a deep dive into Sony's recent showcase, and we're going to do the rest of the news, announcements, and what's coming out this week, etc. So it's kind of normal. Later this week, though, things get pretty wild. Just as this video goes live, I'll be arriving in LA for a full 5 days of showcases, briefings, and hands-on sessions. During that time, the team and I are going to be pumping out videos to cover as much as we can. You can expect to see dedicated videos for Jeff's Summer Games Showcase, the annual Xbox Showcase, and the annual Ubisoft Forward. We're also going to be keeping an eye on the other 6 or 7 showcases happening that week, the lesser-known ones like Future Game Show, PC Game Show, Day of the Devs, etc. And we'll be bringing you highlights from those so you know which games really stood out. Outside of that, I'm going to be going hands-on with like 10 games this year, and you can definitely expect to see dedicated video coverage for some or all of them. Just a heads up, all of that coverage is going to be a lot more relaxed than my typical videos. I don't have the luxury of being able to script stuff while I'm there, so expect more off-the-cuff impressions and sadly, some face cam. I know. I don't like my face any more than you do, but unfortunately, this is the only one I got, so we both got to put up with it, okay? Alright, that's pretty much all I got for the intro bit, so without further ado, let's say we take a look at that PlayStation Showcase, huh? So technically just then, I misspoke. This was not a PlayStation showcase. It was a PlayStation State of Play, a subtle but very important difference. The showcases are where Sony feels like they've really got a lot of big stuff to throw about. Last year they had Helldivers 2, Metal Gear 3 Remake, Final Fantasy 16, Marathon, and Spider-Man 2. That was a pretty impressive haul, and looking back on that list and comparing it to this year's showing, you can understand why this webinar got the designation that it did. But that's not to say that this state of play was at all disappointing, since a lot of what was shown looked pretty cool, except for maybe the headline offering. Roll it, Stu.
Wasn't a plan.
It was a spontaneous, creative decision made after years of careful research.
Being really old and almost dying a bunch doesn't count as research.
Almost dying is the best way to learn how not to die. Besides, it worked, didn't it?
How much longer for the upload?
A few more minutes. Hey,
So this is Concord, or at least it's the cinematics for Concord. It's clearly riffing on some Guardians of the Galaxy vibes in a way that's probably a little on the nose. Yeah, this was a long trailer that would have cost a lot of money to make, and I don't know that it really helped. Certainly the like ratio on the YouTube upload is not good. At the time of writing, it's sitting at around 170,000 views, 21,000 dislikes to 4K likes. Ouch. But to be honest, what did they expect? Like, this is not good. It just doesn't hit right. Like, you look at the Overwatch character cinematics that this is clearly trying to emulate, and those things hit hard, like goddamn bullseye every time. This just felt generic and meandering and long, just like really long. Smash cut to some actual gameplay and the reception is even worse. Over 41k dislikes on that video, absolutely brutal comment section, very little enthusiasm for this video game. But what is Concord? Well, it's a 5v5 hero shooter. It's unclear how objective focused it might be at this point, but I'm gonna guess quite a bit since arena shooters aren't really the go-to these days. We saw 5 characters revealed, but the launch will have a full 16, each of them with their own unique kits a la Overwatch and Team Fortress and every other hero shooter we've ever seen. Interestingly enough, the main touch point for this one may not be a hero shooter at all, but instead Destiny. That's because a number of Bungie's former PvP-focused developers went across to form Firewalk Studios for studio making this game. The Destiny DNA is absolutely on display. The verticality, the floating jump that kind of looks like a Warlock jump, the trip mine grenade, the Titan bubble, and the Fist of Havoc style smash. It's there, man, it definitely is. And while I think the setting and characters for this look pretty uninspired, I'm not ready to write off the gameplay side of this just yet. There were flashes of cool shit here where I was like, okay, that could be fun. Say what you will about Destiny, but they knew how to make a shooter that felt great to play. They never could balance the PvP side of the game because the PvE side made that impossible. But freed from that PvE loot game, maybe they could make a really fun, tightly balanced Crucible in all but name. And I personally would be down for that. I'll tell you the other thing about this that continues to hold my interest. Sony bought this studio before they'd even released their first game. They went in, they play tested it, and they were like, this is so good that we have to buy this studio. And listen, I'm not here to tell you that Sony is infallible, because Lord knows they're not, but they very often know a good thing when they see it. So there might be something there that we shouldn't just write off immediately. At the same time, Firewalk are promising weekly cutscene story things to advance the game's narrative, and I don't know about that, to be honest. Weekly is a lot, and I don't think it's going to be what keeps people coming back. I think that effort would be better spent expanding the gameplay side of things rather than adding some drip-fed narrative. Do note that this is not a free-to-play game. It will instead be a PS Plus title, and you have to assume it'll sell for like 30 or 40 bucks on Steam. Helldivers 2 set a very high bar for what to expect when it comes to in-game spending for a Sony live service title, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this one compares, especially as a premium box product. So yeah, a rocky start to Concord, but there is a beta coming in July where we get to suck it and see for ourselves. The term Concord does have ominous connotations when it comes to both air travel and sea. Let's hope it fares a little better in space. Surprising absolutely no one, God of War Ragnarok is coming to PC on September 19th. It'll feature unlocked frame rate, various upscaler support, super widescreen support, and it'll come bundled with the absolutely excellent Valhalla DLC. That is all great news, fist pumps and firm handshakes all round. The bad news, it requires a PSN2 play it. Now obviously, this really blows. Many people don't want to give Sony their data because Sony has a bad track record with this stuff. More importantly, many people are not able to give Sony their data because the PSN is not available in over 170 countries and territories. And if you live in one of those countries or territories, you will not be able to purchase this video game just like you couldn't purchase Ghost of Tsushima when it released last month. That is a really bullshit outcome that is super unfair to a bunch of people who could have been Sony's happy customers, but were instead left out in the cold like that Conan meme. It continues to be rather shambolic how Sony are approaching this whole thing, and I wonder if their lawyers are scrambling behind the scenes to figure out a solution to all of this, because this has got to be costing Sony a lot of money. Anyway, that's that. What's next? Oh yeah, they're making a new Dynasty Warriors game. Dynasty Warriors Origins is the first current-gen only Dynasty Warriors game to release this generation, and the most surprising thing about that is that they're still making Dynasty Warrior games. I got into this series a long time ago, but God bless anyone who's still into them. In the show notes, Edmund left me. He seems to be very pumped for this, so I know there are likely dozens of you that feel the same. Next thing that caught my eye was this one, Ballad of Antaria, and yeah, take a look. Obviously, this has got a lot of Elden Ring energy, no doubt about that. But it does look cool, I think. The art design looks strong, and some of the combat looks flashy, and the boss encounters look kind of epic. It's from a studio called Tipsworks, who had earlier put out another Souls-like game called Pascal's Wager back in 2021. Middling reviews for that one, but this one looks to be way better financed, as the presentation values are like chalk and cheese versus their previous game. Here's the kicker though. Ballad of Antaria is a free-to-play game, and yeah, free-to-play Elden Ring. Does that ring anyone's bell? It's obviously different from Elden Ring, not least of all because it's positioning itself as a multiplayer game supporting 3-player co-op. But yeah, I don't know how you get a game that looks like this and then make it free-to-play. I suspect I don't really want to know. Either way, I'll keep an eye on it because it does look interesting. No date for it yet, but it's arriving 2025. Believe it or not, and I certainly do not, but Sony included some actual PSVR 2 games in this showcase. 2 of them, in fact. The first is called Behemoth, and it comes from the people who made The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, one of the better VR games out on the market. This is kind of like Skyrim, but VR, but also not Skyrim VR, because that's actually a thing that exists, and this is different. Definitely making use of the first-person perspective in more interesting ways than Skyrim was ever able to do. No release window for this one yet. The other PSVR 2 title was Alien Rogue Incursion, and it's a single-player action horror game delivering an all-new story set in the Alien universe, a high bar to live up to after Alien Isolation, which you can play in VR as well, by the way. This one arrives towards the back end of this year. Now, I know we spent the opening block ragging on generic hero shooters, but if you give me playable Aurora Monroe, then I am there day one. Show 'em, Stu.
Stronger together.
Marvel Rivals has had a little bit of controversy around it, what with that dodgy-ass influencer agreement saying that you couldn't criticize the game, but it seemed an even sillier own goal because by all accounts the game is actually pretty good. It's a little more MOBA than it is team shooter, but those lines are pretty blurry these days anyway. I just think this looks fun, I do. I'm genuinely quite interested in cape stuff that lets me play some of the lesser known heroes or the ones that don't get picked as often, and this has plenty of that in there, so I am down. There's a beta coming to PS5 in July, and there's some exclusive content for playing it on PlayStation, like a Scarlet Spider costume for Spidey. Hey, this next one looks pretty cool. Take a look. This is Where Winds Meet, a newly revealed game from Chinese-based Everstone Studio. It's an open-world action game with a big focus on boss encounters, and you can tell because this trailer alone had like 10 boss battles, all of them looking pretty awesome. It's grounded in Chinese mythology and martial arts, and it's been in development for over 5 years, so clearly the team has been putting the work into it. A really, really strong reveal trailer, I think. It's definitely put the game on my radar. There's no date for it yet, but I expect it to be out sometime next year. There were rumors that an Until Dawn remake was in the works, and they turned out to be true. The remake was confirmed and revealed here, and it will arrive toward the back end of the year. Path of Exile 2, not gonna lie, pretty damn excited for this one. Path of Exile 1 just sort of grew to be so massive and intimidating over the years that it was kind of scary to step into it as a newcomer, and when word started circulating about a sequel, I was like, oh, yep, that is my chance, I'm gonna do it. The road to this sequel has been a very long one with plenty of false starts along the way, but we appear to be getting to the pointy end now, as this trailer showcased a fantastic looking video game that supports crossplay, cross progression, and even couch co-op. You love to see it. No specific date for this one yet, but GGG did confirm that it will launch into early access later this year. Genuinely very pumped for this one. Next up, Silent Hill. Oh boy.
I'm going either way.
No, you shouldn't be here.
Okay, so this was not a good trailer. The problem, in large part, is that Silent Hill doesn't really work well in trailers. It's about the slow burn, the atmosphere, the fog. The problem is that you can't base a trailer on fog because trailers, generally speaking, need to actually show things, which is kind of the exact opposite of what fog does. There were other issues, of course. Some of the character designs were a bit questionable. The animation looks a bit stiff. It just looks tonally and visually like it's missing the mark. Following this show, however, Konami did a separate Silent Hill showcase where they showed off even more of the game. This was significantly better because this was 13 minutes of actual uncut gameplay, and presented this way, you could feel the vibes coming through. It wasn't one-to-one with the original, it still doesn't feel quite right, but watching the footage made me realize that at least part of the effect that Silent Hill 2 had on us back in the day was because of how gritty and grainy those visuals had to be, owing to the limitations of hardware. You can't recreate that in quite the same way in the modern era, or if you can, the Bloober team have not managed to figure out a way to do it. Regardless, there were some impressive locations and encounters here. The facial animations and voice work also seem pretty solid. I'll put it this way, I've been very skeptical about this remake since the moment it was revealed, but this long-form gameplay definitely made me feel more optimistic. It doesn't look like an RE2 or RE4 level slam dunk in the making, but I'm hopeful that it comes together well enough and that Bloober team don't mess up the story too badly. Finally, we did get a release date for this one. It's arriving October 8th for PS5 and PC. Sony saved the best two for last. Monster Hunter Wilds was revealed last year at the Game Awards, and here we got our second look at it. It is looking fantastic. Show 'em, Stu.
Selected you as a lead hunter for this expedition.
Thank you, sir.
Top to bottom, from the first second to the last, this trailer absolutely ruled. It was narrative and location focused, not giving away too much in terms of weapons, armor, or broader sandbox, but we did see a big focus on mounted play, including a snazzy move where your mount will scoop you up after you get knocked down. Visually, this is just out of control. The RE engine is witchcraft. It's crazy how good it runs and what it can do. It's insane. The art style and color work on display here is so expert. It's both vibrant but also understated. Like, it has all this visual flair and distinctiveness, but it also feels very grounded. More so than the last game, in fact. It just looks so excellent, and 2025 cannot come soon enough. While we wait for that though, we do have a little something to keep us busy.
Hi everyone, in today's video I'm gonna show to you the game audio. So basically what simply add the source. So here you have to add your screen, so you have to click on this plus button and then simply choose screen capture, and after that what you have to do is simply go to audio mixer. Hi everyone, in today's video I'm gonna show to you you're gonna game audio. So basically what simply add the
Oh, you? Sorry, Your Worship. I apologize for any offense given. I am Pidya, servant to the Carrion royal family.
I am charged with maintaining these ghastly dolls. Ah, other than the puppets, there are some very fine things up here in this storeroom. Why not pick something out before you go? But please, can you offer poor ill-starred Pythia a little something by way of compensation? Please.
Oh, again we cross paths. I believe I said my name was Rena when last we met. It pleaseth me to see Torrent hale and hearty, but tarnished. What business hast thou here? I have no memory of inking thee an invitation. No reason in particular thou claimest. Intriguing. Then mayhaps fate hath steered thee to this reunion. Wilt thou enter into my service? I am the witch Rani. I stole death long ago, and search now for the dark path, that I might one day upend the whole of it, and rid the world of all that came before. Well, has that roused thy interest? I see. A choice well made. Thou art a rare sword. Not many would have accepted the offer, but I require as much of those under my command. I anticipate good work from thee. Good. Then I ask we proceed with haste. There is, in my service, a half-wolven warrior by the name of Blythe. I would have thee join him in searching for the hidden treasure of Nokron, the Eternal City. I have called for Blythe to greet thee below. Take from him the particulars. Ah, and there wilt thou find Iji, my war counselor, and Salavis, preceptor in the sorcerous arts also. Heed not their peculiarities. Feel secure in gaining from them what advantage thou canst. I am sure the others will be doing just the same.
Oh, so you were the one. Lady Rani has explained everything. Again, I am Iji, the Karian royal family's dedicated blacksmith and Lady Rani's war counselor. I'm told that you are searching for Nokron with Blythe. I will give you whatever guidance I can, and pray for your success. My apologies for the misleading words of warning. I never imagined that an audience, let alone service to Lady Rani, was in your fate. I, for one, should have seen it, but I did not. Do forgive me, my fellow. Let us give all that we can of ourselves, together, for Lady Rani. Let us give together.
Long time, friend. Blythe. Have you forgotten? Glad to have you in the service of Mistress Rani. Well, getting right to business. I'm still in Limgrave. The eternal city of Nokron lies somewhere at the bottom of this land. I'm planning to go below through the well in the Mistwood. See if I can't find the road to Nokron from there. I'm going below. See if I can't. Don't keep me waiting.
I see. You must be Rani's new hireling. Yes, I've heard all about you. I am Celovis, preceptor in the sorcerous arts. I don't know what it is the mistress sees in a provincial tarnished like you, but since we have the misfortune of serving the same lady, I ask that you kindly try not to drag us all down with you. I reside in another tower close by. Come and pay me a visit. Should you wish to be of actual service to Mistress Rani. If it were up to me, I wouldn't waste my time on the likes of you. But who am I to stand against the wishes of my lady?
Allow me to forewarn thee. I shall soon enter my slumber, and it will be some time before I wake. This doll's body is not without its hindrances. Still, I have high hopes for thee. I look forward to the good news when I arise. I shall, and it will be. I have high.
took me at my word. Did you not realize I was merely being polite? Oh, you provincials never cease to amaze. I suppose you're here now. Perhaps I'll give you something to do. I'd like you to find a woman called Nefeli to administer a potion. Even you can do that much, can't you? Good, good. Now I shall hand over the potion in question. Find Nefeli and ensure she drinks it. I expect glad tidings, and soon. I've no time. The only thing I will hear from you is are we under? I have enough.
Greetings. Do you possess any celestial? Then I would like to share concerning the miracle of this. Radagon once cleansed himself with celestial dew, repented his territorial aggressions, and swore his love to Runala. The order of the Erdtree and the fate of the moon were conjoined, and all the wounds of war forgiven. This miracle blesses the Church to this day, and so you need only follow to restore any bond, however strained. To experience the miracle, kneel in the basin at the back and cleanse yourself with celestial dew. Absolution will be yours. Any